in Japan.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome to Communications 101 Online. My name is Chase Southern, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm actually a fashion curator, and I run an online thrift store on Depop called Thrift Simpson. Was just featured as a featured seller for streetwear, and clothing's been a part of my life for a very long time, since high school. Without further ado, I'm going to talk about somebody that I come to know and love in the streetwear world, and his name is Nigo. And to get you guys started, Nigo's original name is Tomoaki Nigo, and he grew up in Maebashi, Ganma, and that's actually in Upper Kanto region, Japan. So it's kind of like a residence in Japan that's actually fairly nice. He didn't grow up very rural or anything. His parents actually had middle-class jobs, so he was very taken care of. And he is now 49. His birthday was on December 23rd, 1970. Okay, so in youth origins, he actually got his first start into everything by music. Once he graduated high school, he would actually take trains to Shibuya and actually go to vinyl stores and collect vinyls. And his introduction into clothing was fairly unique because he wanted to have style like all the rappers like Mobb Deep, Biggie, and Tupac, which he would see on these vinyls. So he actually got into scratching, which is a type of DJing, as he got his first pair of turntables when he was 16. So graduating high school, he jumps into a school called Bunkma, which is actually a fashion college out in Shibuya. And with that being said, they always say it's not about what you know, it's who you know. So he actually would go out clubbing after school, and he actually met a couple people that are relevant in today's culture. So he met a guy named Jun Takahashi, who was his best friend in college, and he runs a label still to this day called Undercover. And a man that actually works with Nike, his name is Hiroshi Fujiwara, and he does a label called Fragment Design. But Nigo got his nickname Nigo in a club one night when Hiroshi and them hugged, and he said, "You're always gonna be number two to me." So Nigo means number two. So also the creation of Bape, so why I'm here is Nigo wouldn't be here without this brand. So in 1993, after Hiroshi, Jun, and Nigo left, they decided they would take their ventures into a sneaker store. As sneaker stores weren't really big in Japan yet, and streetwear was only evolving from Harajuku, they decided to open a store called Nowhere, even though it would actually end up branching to be one of the biggest stores out in Japan. In 1993, after a 5-hour marathon of Planet of the Apes, Nigo decided to create a brand that mocked post-war and overconsumption, and he called it a bathing ape. The full name for it was very long and didn't catch people right away, but the term was a bathing ape in lukewarm water. So their idea was the overindulgence in the water was the idea of consumerism and people sitting too long and spending way too much money on things that'll just distill and they'll fade. So as Bape opened up, they were actually in 40 retailers in Japan, but not making crazy money. They decided to scale it down as it was being overconsumed, and Nigo's idea was he didn't want to sell out. So he cut off 90% of all the stockists and brought it to one store, which maximized capital for the years 1995 to 1998. And the biggest relic to all the clothes is you'll see a lot of camos, which they ended up inventing with the ape head inside of it. They do a lot where it says go ape, and all the colors range, and brands now often mimic it because image is the biggest form of flattery. We see it everywhere. People like H&M copy it, Forever 21 copy it, and styles will never fade. So continued, as the demand was super high, he only got to deliver about 10% of all product and revenue, which made it a crazy demand, which made markets online, as what I do over here, 2 platforms, Grilled and Depop. You can find pieces that go for $250 all the way to $2,500, from hoodies even little knickknacks like a bathing ape toilet paper. They also have little fishing bobs, so when you go fishing to catch the fish, they're camo already. And then bait caps to shower with. And then in the Y2K era, once Nigo actually hit the United States, he met with someone we all know and love, Pharrell. So in 2003, Pharrell actually met Nigo on tour with his group Nerd, N-E-R-D. And they decided they would kind of collaborate as they both liked each other's minds, and the mindset kind of sparked. And then Reebok, they did a collaboration called Billionaire Boys Club and Ice Cream, which are still ran to this day. So Ice Cream is actually known for their Bones and Combs logo, and Billionaire Boys Club is known for their motto, wealth is of the heart and mind, not the pocket. So they still do it to this day. They're actually not ran by Nigo anymore, as in 2016, as profits went down and consumerism went to an all-time high. 30 stores across the world, you kind of start to lose profit as it's not as valued because it's saturated. So in 2016, Nigo actually had to sell 90% of his business in Japan to a company called IT Group, which is actually a giant fashion conglomerate which owns a lot of brands. And they sold it for $2.8 million, and Nigo only owned 10%, and as a result, 2 years later, he left his own brainchild. So after that, the statistics report was said that in that time of 2003 to 2008, Nigo had made around 45 million, and that was in his words, but he actually collected a lot. As he was a fan of collectibles, he actually opened his first house as a museum called Bapeland. So from pieces of Andy Warhol soup cans to giant Gumby chairs to Texaco chairs or neon signs, the house is actually visitable to this day. You have to make reservations. And now he owns a company called Human Made, which focuses on his love for vintage and archive. Thank you, guys.